That's the measure of the first 5 years is 5 years. It takes 5 years, but the reason that you do it that way is because then you start with your base year, which is 1849, and then you just subtract that. You subtract whatever year you're looking at you subtract 1849 from it to find what year you're talking about. Let's take another look at this chart here, because if we start over here at 0 and then we go in 10 years, and so we look up here to see where that first dip bottomed out at, and that was exactly at 10 years. And so that's 1859, that 10-year mark. And so you say, well, what year was that? It was AK10. That was Anno Cosman, the year of Cosman. Anno means year. Year of Cosman 10. So that was year 10 of Cosman. So that's where it is here on the chart, because we're measuring years. This is a measurement. And so if we would have started with 1849 as being the first year, and it is the first year, 1849 to 1850, summer of 1849 to summer 1850 is the first year as you live it. But it isn't called the first year until after you've completed the first year. It's the same thing with birthdays. How old are you when you're 25? Well, when you reach your 25th birthday, what that means is you've just completed your 25th year. You're actually starting the next day, or even the next moment after 25 years after your birth. So you're actually starting 26th year after your birth. You're starting that at the moment 25 years later. You're actually starting on the 26th, but they say you're 25 years old, and this is where proportionality comes in. So you're 25 years old and 1 minute afterwards. And so it's the same with a child. Now, a child is born, they don't say, well, the child is 0 years old. But until that child reaches his first birthday, he is known by months or weeks, even if they're a newborn. 3 weeks old, 5 weeks old, 6 weeks old, 2 months old, 8-month-old baby. But then when they get to a year old, then they say a year and 2 months or a year and a half. So they go proportionality again. But just in general, and people say, well, okay, how old is he? How old is your child? Well, he is a year old, or he's 2 years old, or he's 3, or he's 4. Meaning he's past that birthday, and he's actually, if he's 4 years old, meaning he's experiencing his 5th yearly cycle. And so when we talk about cycles this way, we have to translate, when we talk about cycles, we have to translate the year, we have to translate that back into cycles. Because when a person is 4 years old, they reach their 4th birthday, that means they've completed 4 cycles, 4 yearly cycles, and they're starting their 5th yearly cycle. Well, we're interested in cycles is not the measure, not the measure of the year where it is, and the units that we're using in the measure in this case is years. We want to know during the time that he's experiencing his 5th cycle, his 5th year, we want to know what it is or when that time is, we should say, when that time is, and can judge accordingly. If we're going to use cycles for prophecy work, then we can. Now, I'm using really simple examples, but when we look at historical events and we talk about cycles in historical events, then we have to translate the dates into which cycle is man undergoing, because every cycle is different. Every cycle has a different meaning to it. Well, what are the meanings of the cycles? Well, the meanings of the cycles are actually found in the Tablet of Samoin. Now the Tablet of Simoin, which is in Oahspe's Book of Sappha, and now the Tablet of Simoin was first given to man approximately 72,000 years ago, given to the Ihans. And it was the first comprehensive explanation of the universe. And so it had to be well ordered, well structured, and it had to have sufficient depth because they understood that this tablet was going to be resurfaced at this time of Cosman, and it did through Oahspe. And so in the Tablet of Simoin it still has to be pertinent to today, and it is. It explains reality. It's a comprehensive explanation of reality as being basically made up of 11 cycles. Of 11 cycles of 11 cycles. 11 times 11, 121 separate steps, if you will, or separate entities, or separate conditions, separate realities that are in creation that we have to deal with, and an explanation of how the universe proceeds. And so if we look at the first row of 11, and there's 11 rows and 11 units in each row, so each 11, now 11 is very important in dealing with cycles. And we'll get to why in just in the course of this talk, but it's based on the unit. What's the unit? Because even though we're counting, yes, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 symbols in Simoin. Yeah, we start with the first one, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. And so to somebody who hasn't studied into it, yes, it might just seem like they're just randomly picked concepts, but they're more than that. They're not just randomly picked. They're well ordered. They're structured around the reality of our universe, of our creation that we're in. And so the first one is is the foundation. Now, the foundation, when we were teaching Asu, meaning the humanity as angels, because we live on when we lose our corporeal body, we continue living in spirit, and we eventually rise up and join all those other one-time mortals who are now in light, and we progress onward and upward. And so, and there's no end to it. That's the testimony that we have. It's eternal progression, ever more comprehensive. But we have to start somewhere, and where we start is with the foundation, the Ah. Now the Ah is going forth. It's an active thing, a male attribute, as it were, compared to the feminine or receptive, which will come next, and that's the second.